In case you've missed it, the last couple of months, there's been a lot of chatter here within the Cardano ecosystem as to how we can bring Bitcoin liquidity directly into the Cardano ecosystem, specifically tapping into DeFi and smart contracts, which Cardano has to offer. Now, if you've also missed it, there's been a lot of talks about the integrations of platforms or tooling like Bitcoin OS. And we also have teams, just like the Fluid Tokens teams, which are building using the latest primitives available with Plutus V3 to make sure that that onboarding is smooth and seamless. Now, as a part of today's video, we're going to be talking about scaling and brand new types of dApps that Bitcoin users or just any new users coming into Cardano could potentially leverage. We'll be sitting down with Sheldon Hunt, who's representing Sundial, who's building an optimistic rollup platform using the Midgard tech stack, and also be sitting down with Hinson, who's building Delta DeFi, one of the first ever high frequency trading platforms to launch here on Cardano. Now, that said, and as always, if you guys enjoy content like this, please make sure to smash that thumbs up on the way in. If it's your first time stopping by and you want more content like this, consider subscribing. And last but not least, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, go ahead and leave those down below. That said, enjoy today's video. What's up, Ada Nation? Welcome to Dapp Central, your home for everything blockchain and crypto. My name's Fareed. As a part of today's video, talking about layer 2 scaling solutions all coming to Cardano, as well as the ongoing Project Catalyst funding round number 13 a season. Without any further ado, I'll be joined by Hinson, who's representing the Delta DeFi team, and Sheldon Hunt, who's also representing Sundial. Let me bring up today's guest. First, we've got Hinson, and of course, Sheldon. Welcome up, gents. I feel like we just saw each other not too long ago in Dubai. Good to see you guys again virtually. How are you guys doing?
Yeah, doing pretty good. We today try to also implementing the Hydra related stuff, hacking stuff, and also today we got a engineer intern on board. So a little bit of welcoming and also said welcome to Cardano to him. Yeah,
nice. Onboarding new members. How about you, Sheldon? How are you doing today?
Oh, doing good, man. Doing really good. It's another day in paradise. To your point, like since the Cardano Summit, which feels like it wasn't that long ago, but then also the amount of things that have happened since then, it's also kind of crazy. So it's been very much up since we last met there in Dubai.
Yes, to say the least. From a content creator's perspective, my plate has been full, but thanks to you actually as well, right? You hooked me up with some really great interviews. One of them performing very well recently. That was the Bitcoin OS one with Adon Diego. So definitely want to extend some kudos over to you for making that happen. All right, without any further ado, let's jump into layer 2 scaling solutions. Sheldon, you're now representing Sundial. Hinson, you're representing Delta DeFi. I want to give you guys both an opportunity first to maybe highlight what it is that you guys are building and bringing to the network. So Sheldon, I think we'll kick you off first, and then Hinton will come over to you.
Yeah, well, okay. Well, thank you very much for even like giving me the opportunity to come on it and to chat about all of this. So like right now today, and I'm sure there's going to be a little bit of a delay between like this being filmed and going out, but today everything is all about Hydra. So I just want to quickly shout out everybody who's making some of those crazy TPS metrics happen, because it's pretty outstanding, getting like 1 million there from the Doom tournament. So I know like Trim and the guys have been grinding for quite a while, and to see that kind of come together is really cool. And it has actually a direct relation to what we want to talk about here today. So everything there with Hydra, it's an example of a really cool scaling solution. It's like state channels. And so there's amazing things that can be done. And I know actually, well, Hinson will talk about it in a little bit, but the whole idea of being able to do some high frequency trading in these state channels is going to be kind of game changing, if I'm being modest. But that'll be for Hinson to get into later on. For myself, I've been working really closely with Phil and Ladin and the guys over at Anastasia Labs these last couple of weeks, and really grinding away on kind of like the dual building of Midgard and Sundial, because Sundial is an optimistic rollup and basically building on the Midgard tech stack, which is super cool. And so it's something akin to what we've seen in the EVM world, right? With all of the various EVM layer 2s, Arbitrum, Optimism, those guys, but it's quite different. So it's quite interesting that with Cardano, we've got like a whole different like tooling set, being the UTXO and the way everything is kind of settled. And so we're going to be in a really cool place where we're not going to have the liquidity dispersal, where things get fragmented, and it's been to a detriment of Ethereum, as we've seen basically a cannibalization of liquidity and action away from Ethereum and onto these layer twos, and don't want to have that happen at all in Cardano. So it's something that we are looking to, well, not really solve for, because it's just not going to be a problem with Cardano, but to take what works in that model, which is allowing for new parties to come over and build new niches of different like businesses on Cardano, and have new kind of dedicated L2s. And so for my own L2, the whole thing here, and maybe the Lego kind of gives it away, bit of a fan of Bitcoin, right? It was what got me into crypto, and I think it's what got a lot of people watching into crypto back in the day, and looking to make the most of all of the great developments that have been happening on the Bitcoin side of things, and even just the amount of liquidity that's there, the possibilities to tap into institutional partners, and potentially even governments, right? If we do see on the US side, at least, a move towards having Bitcoin be part of a national reserve, it's kind of a bit of a game changer. Don't want to kind of go down that route too much, but it is looking pretty good. But we'll see. We can't kind of project too much into the future, but it is ultimately coming together into this nice narrative that Bitcoin is going to be in a fairly glorious position in 2025 and beyond. And it would be a crime not to utilize the strengths that we've got in Cardano, being also UTXO chain, a lot of the same kind of functionalities and kind of the historical like legacies that carry over in Cardano from Bitcoin, but just with the programmability and everything else that's now in Cardano. So it's kind of like a nice match made in heaven. And so Sundial, as it's kind of currently imagined and being presented there in Catalyst, is to be the layer 2 specifically for institutional Bitcoin. And of course, we're not going to stop there, but don't want to get overly ambitious and bite off more than I can chew. But the plan is to have, with this L2, the ability to have Bitcoiners and other people bring their Bitcoin over into Cardano on an L2, lock it up, get the L2 experience that you would maybe get in the EVM world, but without a lot of the additional speed bumps, right? And to have the ability to actually stake in the Cardano fashion, which is, I think, second to none. The Cardano staking experience is best in class, and it's actually something that's come up in a lot of discussions with some of these institutional parties that are keen to kind of go this route. And so, we've got some interest. There's quite a lot of like big players that would like to see Bitcoin staking done on Cardano, and to use some of the functionality there for the lending, the borrowing, the DeFi, and just to see what could be built. Because we imagine, and this is once again kind of projecting, the ability to have a number of other kind of smart contract capabilities, maybe even like entertainment, games, meme coins that don't necessarily need to be built on Bitcoin, because it is not really built for that. But people certainly are trying, and I encourage them to keep trying. But to have essentially Bitcoin functionality on Cardano without really knowing what's under the hood. And so there's a number of different ways we can kind of build this, and it's all coming together pretty cool and pretty quickly. So I'm very optimistic. It's quite exciting. And I know like Charles, I know the team over at Fluid Tokens, Marvin at Maestro, and so many others are building some really cool stuff. Like Omen, I got to give enormous credit to all of the community members who are all in on bridging Bitcoin to Cardano. And I think we're going to have a really, really promising year next year, where the bridges are built and we start walking back and forth between these two lovely digital cities.
Nice. Yeah, I think there's a lot of people expecting for that liquidity to come in anticipation of that, are building the tools necessary to make sure that when the liquidity is here, that it has a place and a home to go to. So thank you for that, Sheldon. Again, really interesting how much attention the Bitcoin community has gotten here within Cardano within the last month alone. All right, Hinson, over to you to break down Delta DeFi. And if I'm not mistaken, recent integrations and talks about Hydra, right?
Yep.
Within your platform there as well. So over to you.
Yep. So it's my pleasure to be here again. I've been here a couple of times talking about different topics for our team. Actually, people might know about us, like Delta DeFi and Sedan Lab. We're essentially the same team. for the recent half years, we have been mostly focusing on Delta DeFi to build up some real use case for the Cardano community. To firstly, maybe I could talk a little bit about the history of Delta DeFi. Actually, this name and this brand appear since 2022. And back then, I was trying to build some derivative onto Cardano because I'm a traditional finance background myself. So I know a lot of different traditional products and what the people are doing in the stock markets, etc. So my ideas was always try to find out something that exists in the traditional financial markets, but yet to be on blockchain. And I have a hypothesis is that since we don't have the complete product set or the trading or financial market experience, so that the big money isn't really interested into adopting the blockchain technology. So this has been the core narrative of everything that I have been doing. So we started off with the derivatives, and then after we got the prototype and talked to some of the local traders ourselves, and we got to a answer very quickly is that I never used DeFi. So when I try to delve a little bit deeper onto why, it just come into the very fundamental problems. First of all, they cannot accept there's a huge slippage. Like when they want to place a trade, no matter it's just 0.5%, that as a DeFi users, we find it very normal. But for the TradFi perspective, it's just like unacceptable, this kind of slippage. So this is something that happens to a lot of swap. But the more important things is like a lot of traders, when they play trade, they want the trade to be confirmed immediately. This comes to the second very important point. No matter which blockchain we are in, you want to place a transaction, put your signature in, you have to wait for the blockchain confirmation. It sounds like something like hard limitation or restriction that we cannot break through. And the third point that I've mentioned is like, after you have placed the order, when another party is matching your orders, there's some sort of, also the confirmation stuff. And more importantly is when you try to place the order, they are not just like us, the DeFi users going onto your website, clicking buttons. They do want the API trading experience. And this is kind of also non-existing in crypto worlds mostly. So after summarizing these things, we have our first pivot. Ditch the derivative thing. Try to build another desk. But we are very dedicated into solving these fundamental problems: instant order confirmation, zero cost, placing order, canceling orders, and API trading, just the traditional features. So this is the period where 1 year ago we start implement this first pivot, and until the June or July this year, a few months ago, we got our prototype deployed on the Cardano pre-prod testnet. So our journey is kind of like try to narrowing or the limitation on our desk. On that first version of high frequency trading Delta DeFi, we do have some limitations. First of all, is due to the mean UTXO issues, we have to restrict the trade size. Like you have to trade in certain lots. Another very important limitation is when you place one trade, although we could have some tech key thing happens on the back end that could make all those SCM happen, like instant order confirmation, etc. But still, after you have matched your trade, you still have to wait for the blockchain to settle your assets before you place another trade. So this limitation also doesn't exist in the centralized exchange. Then it comes to the Singapore, the September. Our team we flew to Singapore token 2049, and we talked to Trim and the Hydra team. And then we found out that actually for the Hydra test that right now, we don't have to wait for it to release. It's already sufficient for Delta DeFi to deploy a Hydra version. Then we check the trap point a little bit. It's much more closer to the product that we have been envisioning. So the second time in our team, ditch all of the source code, going 100% onto Hydra. Now we are like 3 months into the progress, and the progress is pretty good. Like we have already blind code everything, and we are testing the stuff right now. This morning, I'm testing how to get the script UTXO into Hydras and then conduct the initial transactions. So we try to make everything ready by the end of this year, so we could have a mini testnet launch very, very soon to the Cardano community. So after all these things in place, we're actually envisioning we could build something as close as Binance, but we are natively on Cardano blockchain. Immersion people can no longer think about anything UTXO. Click a button is like depositing into Delta DeFi, and then maybe there's spot, there's maybe option, other derivatives, and then maybe we could even offset their exposures to have some more better capital efficiency and so forth. This is kind of bigger visions that we're thinking about, but everything is super promising right now, and we are very excited to the progress. And yeah, there's a bit of the background of Delta DeFi and the state of the art.
Thank you there for the wonderful summary. And I missed this earlier, but kudos to you guys, the entire Delta DeFi team. I believe you guys came in, I want to say second at the Battle of the Builders at the recent Cardano Summit. So very well deserved. And I think goes to show that, the idea is valid and that a lot of people believe in what you guys are building there. Now, one thing I'd love to definitely pose to the both of you guys very quickly before we maybe sort of shift and talk a little bit about some of the different aspects of layer twos and rollups in Cardano is the timeline, right? Until we're able to see both of your platforms on the main net. So Sheldon, back over to you. When and where exactly is Sundial in its current stage of development? And then the same thing over to you, Hinson, as well, about where you guys currently stand and when we can expect high frequency trading to come on the Cardano mainnet.
Yeah, man. Well, so it's a situation where I don't want to be counting my chickens before they hatch, because a lot of this is still dependent upon Catalyst. So anybody who's watching, if this is still kind of during Catalyst season, I would very much appreciate your vote, not to plug myself too hard. But it still hasn't stopped development. And still, even if, heaven forbid, I fail in my attempt to get some support and funding from Catalyst, I'm still going ahead with this. So for those of you who don't know, I've been working as the head of the Cardano ecosystem with Emergo, and I am resigning. And so my last day will be the end of December. And so regardless of how Catalyst goes, I'm all in on this. So absolutely committed to it, and have been, chatting with the guys at Anastasia and working together with them. And so we project that the first test net should be about several months away, like around 6 months, to kind of have the test net ready for Midgard and Sundial. There's going to be some additional, I shouldn't say delays, but additional development time for Sundial because there is additional complexity, to be completely honest with you, because there is going to be a token that will be designed into Sundial, which is not with Midgard. So that does change the dynamics there, because the whole idea with Sundial is to have essentially incentivized DeFi. We want to be able to dangle a carrot for BTC to come over and to incentivize people to be staking it. And so there's a lot that goes into the tokenomics there that we don't want to mess up. And so it takes time to do it right. And so in my proposal for Catalyst, I'm imagining this is going to take basically 9 months to get to testnet. Throwing more money at it might not speed it up, right? Just because this is technical development. Sometimes you just need to kind of grind it out and do a security first approach. And so that's the timeline. Could it go shorter, longer? Yes, but it's tech developments, right? There's no way to shortcut this. So
Yeah, I think a perfect example of this are Twitter Spaces. Elon Musk has been running Twitter for I don't know how long and has yet to figure out what the heck is wrong with Twitter Spaces. So I don't think it's a money issue. You get the point, though. But I totally hear you, and I can definitely respect the transparency. And you basically stating that, regardless of where this goes, you're going to be committed to this. So I definitely love that piece there as well. Hinson, I want to pose the same question to you again. I know you guys are building, and there's, quite a big team trying to make this happen. It sounds like you guys already have somewhat of a working product, but when can we see that on mainnet?
Yep. So since Sheldon has mentioned it, I think I must mention it also. Our team actually is 100% run by Catalyst. We got a couple of Fund 11 and Fund 12 proposals. Right now, our reserve is kind of okay for our core team to survive. But with the Fund 13 support, probably we could also hire 2-3 of our engineers that we already targeted. Like we are engaging part-time, but we bring them full-time because we have to provide them with a little bit of financial security, aka 2 year of run rate, that at least making them feel that working for us is kind of safe. So this is the thing that we might be speed up a little bit. But as of the timeline, actually internally we have 2 dates going straight to that. An aggressive timeline is by the Q1 of next year. The less aggressive one is probably the half of the next year, like June of next year. This might be more conservative and something more reasonable. But the good news is for mainnet, although for mainnet there are a lot of more things that we have to care about, since we use a lot of different optimization, and we do want to make sure that the user funds are 100% safe. So probably we will take some audit, and it might not be as straightforward since we are using something on Cardano L1, and then we use the Hydra tag, and we also have some smart contract logics that only works inside Hydra, but not working in L1. There are a lot of different new design pattern emerge in our Delta DeFi version 2, we say. So probably this audit is not as straightforward as well. So we still want to kind of do it right, but it might take time to figure it out. Put these things aside, the best thing is for testnet is actually nothing holding our back. Probably we will try to roll out the testnet as soon as possible. Since we were on Hydra, the trading experience is essentially identical. Like when Delta DeFi go for a testnet, although you're depositing through pre-production testnet, however, you're trading on the same architecture, same specification of the Hydra node itself that we are playing on the mainnet. So you could still experience the same high frequency trading, kind of hype up a little bit, seeing the order book popping every milliseconds, etc. And your trade just play, and then the balance just update, reflected immediately. These are things that we try to roll it out to the community as soon as possible. Probably in the coming 2-3 months, we might be able to get this thing out, and we are very excited as well. And this might be my time to start to seriously learn about bot trading to try to feel a little bit of the speed on my own platform.
Yeah. I think bot trading, has come to my attention specifically with the Solana ecosystem in that particular network where, that's sort of now the norm. But in Cardano, I think a few people understand and know how to run bots, batchers, sort of that thing, but it's not necessarily the norm. It's not what everybody's used to here in this ecosystem, but I think Delta DeFi is going to change that here very, very soon. I want to thank the both of you guys for actually mentioning, your Project Catalyst proposals. I'll grab the links from you guys. I'll leave them down below. It was very surprising to me to hear, projects like MintSwap funded through Catalyst or started through Catalyst. And then more recently, I did an interview with the Liquid team, and they actually also had early beginnings with Catalyst as well. So 2 of the top, Cardano protocols here, one being a DEX and then one being lending and borrowing, starting from grassroots through Project Catalyst. So I think it goes again to show the importance and the impact that a program like Catalyst can have here on the ecosystem and the community. All right, gents, let us quickly sort of shift over here as we get ready to wind things down. I want to maybe just talk about, what it's going to take to get Cardano DeFi to the next level. Not just DeFi, but just Cardano, I would say, right, in scaling to the next level. I feel like we have security, we have centralization or decentralization, excuse me there. It's a little early on my end, but we're still trying to get our feet underneath us when it comes to scaling. So maybe, again, we'll go to Sheldon first, and then Hinton will come back over to you. But would like to maybe talk about any pain points that you guys see and exactly what we can do to bring Cardano adoption to the next level.
Yeah, well, so I would say that some of like the cool things that we've been seeing these last couple of days related to the Doom tournament to show off what's possible with the state channels, like doing 1 million TPS is pretty huge. But the nice thing with the scaling between like Hydra and the state channels and then Midgard and Sundial, the optimistic rollup, is you can stack these things, right? So the whole idea, you can actually have Hydra heads inside Hydra heads. You can have layer 2s. We could theoretically have a layer 3, and then you can have Hydra heads inside a layer 2. So it gets a little bit wonky. We can get a little bit out there where we can actually just combine these different things to have like an augmented scaling solution, tailor-made to whoever is building the Dapp on the other end, and actually have some really incredible speed. So there's always going to be some kind of trade-off that goes into this as well. But by having like layer twos and the state channels and other things, you can start to augment the strengths and the weaknesses. So if we now have an optimistic rollup, you can allow the security to be kind of settled by the main chain of Cardano, and then have on the L2 more speed, right? And so maybe finality and everything else, it's all kind of under the hood cooking in different ways. And so I imagine that, and speaking with a number of the different teams in Cardano, if we're imagining like fast forward a year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years from now, when we want to have the global economy running in no small part on Cardano, it'll mean essentially millions of transactions per second, right? If you want to have everything on chain. So it can be like bills of lading when it comes to like global trade and shipping. It could be like IP, songs being published and streaming. It could be like video content and obviously games. And so there's going to need to be millions of transactions being processed per second. And so are they going to require smart contracts or not? And so there's different ways you can be modular about this to actually kind of get the right fit for speed. And so I think we're now solving a lot of the scalability side of Cardano. We got, as you were saying, decentralization. We've got the security. Now the next part, we should get out there and start screaming from the rooftops that we got something pretty cool. So that will take a bit of marketing. That's going to take some boots on the ground. I can't encourage the Cardano community enough to kind of get out there and go to crypto events, be proud, be loud about Cardano. Don't be like obnoxious, of course, but be friendly, be engaging, be a Cardano diplomat, and get out there and start to, build bridges, encourage people to kind of take a second, third, fourth look at Cardano and show off all the progress we've been making over these last few years and certainly these last few months. I think that will be a big game changer. And then the nice thing also, kind of going back, tooting my own horn here, but if we have more L2s, we also open up the possibility to bring in new people to trial out new things, right? There are new openings for perhaps more VC-minded projects to kind of come on and see, oh, we've got now a nice friendly environment here. We've got a nice entry point to kind of play with elements of what really, really works in Cardano and kind of take that off in a different direction. So there's modularity and there's flexibility. Obviously, it's all permissionless. And so I think it's now just like a matter of time. We're very much on the right track, but we've got some big decisions to make in the next couple of weeks and months, right? Around the treasury, about everything else, marketing. So I'm optimistic we will get there. And it's never been brighter to be in Cardano land.
Yeah, you mentioned earlier not counting your chickens before they hatch. I'm also a believer in running through the finish line, right? And I feel like as the Cardano community, we've done so much. We're right there at the finish line, and we have to just run through that bad boy, you know? Again, the community having to step in and sort of market Cardano. I feel like that's what we've been doing all along. Everything with the ecosystem has been organic from the jump. And so I think, you know, people showing up at events like that will just happen naturally. And one thing that I do appreciate about the community is how supportive they are of one another. And so that said, I really love what you had to say about that particular topic. But I want to switch over, to Hinson to also get his take and his perspective as to what he thinks, right, it takes in order to get Cardano to that next level of adoption.
Yep. I think Sheldon has mentioned a couple of good points, especially the one of stacking different scaling solutions together. There's also the reason why Delta DeFi team find ourselves so confident to just go into Hydra right now, but not kind of investigate it a little bit more into other scaling solution, because we are confident that the Hydra tech could be on Cardano L1, then it could also be on Midgard, and then it could be on Sundial as well. So our technical stack will not be wasted, or the efforts will be able to carry forward in the next kind of overall architecture of Delta DeFi, if possible. So these are things that we found that is super bumpy. Other than the points that Sheldon has mentioned, I just want to supplement 2 points that from my perspective. The first thing is so far we are all in Cardano for quite a while in terms of years. I think we are quite I like that Cardano community is a little bit too technology obsessed. Like people love about good technology and try to build cool stuff. It's technically sound, it's super decentralized, super legit. And I think it's good. But when it comes to when we try to move Cardano into the scalability zone, I think a good practice that also our team is starting to do is to try to look into other ecosystem. For example, I believe that Sheldon has already been doing with the Bitcoin and other stuff. That's why we have met in Thailand in the DevCoin, just kind of scout a little bit on what's the Ethereum community is doing and so forth. And I think it's pretty important. Like in other ecosystem, especially for example, Solana, they already reached the scalability part first and then coming back to other stuff later. But their scalability is doing pretty well. And I could say that. And when we look into how they approach the thing, it's not as straightforward as building good software, then it's all good. It comes to a lot of other human nuances, like when you onboard a new kind of users onto the ecosystem, what kind of things that they have to care? Do they have to care about UTXO and so forth? These are the kind of the smaller nuances that is actually hindering a little bit of the adoption and aka scalabilities. I think this is something that Delta DeFi team has tried to learn from other ecosystem, and also why we are so confident in L2 solutions. Because when we look into other ecosystem, no matter it's like DYDX in Cosmos or Hyperliquid in another ecosystem, they're all on L2. Then we are kind of able to draw in conclusion that some sort of the application, for example, high frequency tradings, huge financial activity, might be better in an L2. This is something that we should learn from other ecosystems, try to see how they start thing, how to maintain thing, and how to improve thing in terms of scalability. This is the first point that I want to mention. And then the second point is a little bit trickier. It's like the software plus the trade-off. Like all we know when we use one L2, Hydra, Midgard, or anything else, that come with some trade-offs. Like for example, we all know that if we use Solana, it trades off a little bit of security or decentralizations, and so as other L2, major L2 on EVM ecosystem. But it is a time set for different participants or different application to stop a little bit to think about what are the trade-offs that you could accept or you could mitigate. So I think this is very important because I'm kind of sure that not everyone or not every application is suitable on Hydra, and not every single application is suitable on a optimistic rollup as well. And then as a project, like for example, Delta DeFi, we have been thinking about it also. Like Hydra hats essentially is just multi-sig. People might scare about their fund being lost. So, what is a possible mitigation we could have? For example, distributing some nodes to trusted organization, etc. This is the point that we start to think about a little bit of the mitigation. And then follow along this line, a lot of the mitigation actually happens within the software. For example, Hydra, we are using the open source Hydra libraries that are developed and maintained by IOG. And everyone could just audit the code and check the protocol and know that Hydra could not have anything funny. And then people might be able to verify whether you're using the official copies or not, etc. So these are the things that come through the software. So I think right now we are having a pretty good culture in Cardano gradually, is that people are working together. Like for example, I'm 100% sure that if Delta DeFi can get off the ground with Hydra, we'll probably become the ecosystem, one of the core maintainer of Hydra tech itself. That when we need something, fix something, we will push the PR and then to maintain the kind of test that together with the open community. Same as what Sheldon doing as well. Like Anastasia Lab, huge shout out for them to building Midgard tech. It's an awesome piece of technology. But without huge participant and users like Sheldon, kind of it's very difficult for the development team to iterate with the ecosystems. So Sheldon is become one of the core iterator Midgard that I could expect. Like when this thing, when Sundial get off the ground, Sheldon using the Midgard technology, he spotted out that he wants some features. He might talk to Anastasia Lab, or maybe he got his own engineer to push the PR to the whole thing. Then we can maintain the core piece of technology together in the open source manner. and then it could help to mitigate a little bit of the security and decentralization doubts as well. So yeah, these are some very important nuances. And I think if we could accomplish this 100% Cardano to the scalability state.
Two really great points there. I like the piece that you mentioned about the Cardano community being tech obsessed. It's an interesting obsession to have, right? Everybody's here partying and sort of shouting, about how excited they are about Hydra and scaling. And for a lot of people looking from the outside, and they're like, "What's the big deal?" But the tech, I think, is what people are really, really excited about, and the opportunity, such as high frequency trading and being able to onboard, TradFi, all of these sort of household names that people know, right? Being able to bring them into Cardano, let them know, hey, not only are you getting that security and scalability or the speed, but you're getting the full package here. Really, again, no corners have been cut here in the process when it comes to development for Cardano. You also mentioned looking outside of the ecosystem. I'm a huge fan of that as well, right? Because I think that we have to realize that while Cardano does do a lot of great things well, that there will be some things that other ecosystems have done already before us, or that they've just done it better than us. I think one clear example of this has been governance from Polkadot, where we've been able to learn a little bit, right, from some of their shortcomings and some of their positive outcomes, and we're able to iterate and double down on certain things, or maybe avoid certain scenarios. So again, really, really great commentary coming in from the both of you guys here. Now we are getting ready to wrap things up here, so I definitely want to give you guys an opportunity to highlight any last points or closing thoughts that you guys want to share with the community, whether it's about how they can get in touch with you guys, or just anything else that I may have missed during this particular call. So again, I think we'll go with the usual order here. Sheldon will come to you first, and Hinson, you'll get the final thoughts.
Well, yeah, well, just like first off, like thanks for having us here today. It's great to talk about this, and thank you everybody who's tuning in. Because yeah, we really run on this community. We've come a long way, as you were mentioning earlier, Fareed. Like this is really, it's been on us. It's all organic. It's all kind of community driven. We don't have any bots propping us up. This is just like, it's human to human, and so I appreciate each and every one of these human moments. But yeah, as for like kind of how to reach out to me, usually the best is on X, on Twitter. So yes, you can shoot me a message. I'm _Mr. Hunt _, and yeah, I'll be keen to kind of get back. If anybody has any questions, you can DM me at any point in time, and yeah, I'd be keen to see where we can take this, because I know that this is too big for any one person or team to handle on their own. The whole thing of L2s and scalability, it's going to be like essentially a whole family enterprise. We're all going to have all of our hands on board for this. And so I encourage anybody who's got some ideas, some use cases to reach out, and yeah, see what we can do. And once again, like, yeah, Cardano to the moon. We're setting up 2025 to be the year of Cardano dominance. And so I couldn't be more excited.
Yes, it's officially Cardano season. I'm excited to be here. For all of us, right? We've been here through the brutal bear market and had to face a lot of backlash, a lot of mean and hateful comments, and to now finally see literally the sun shining once again. It seems like everybody's, what is the word that I'm looking for here? Everybody's, oh my goodness, the word is escaping my mind, but it's like everybody's outlook, everybody's vision of Cardano has completely changed. Cardano's gone from being sort of the crazy stepchild to now being like the only child. All of the attention right now, as of late, has been on Cardano, and of course, a lot of that is thanks and kudos to Charles Hoskinson. But we've got teams, like the founding entities, IOG, Emergo, the foundation, and of course, the community, as you've mentioned a few times here as a part of this interview, Sheldon. So I'll be leaving the link to your Twitter and your proposals down below for anybody who wants to get in touch with you. And as we are to close out here, over to Hinson for final thoughts.
Yep. Yes, yeah, just a short comment. That's super grateful to seeing you guys. Kind of we gone through the last $1 or $2 together, going down to 30 cents, and then now coming up again with it. And the best thing is we are still here doing this thing together. So yeah, final thoughts is definitely staying eyes close to Delta DeFi. For me, I think same as Sheldon, the best way to reach me out is probably in X or Twitter. My handle is Hinson Sedan. It's just combine the two words together, then you find me. Also, one of the final remarks is that I might be able to give a little bit of a spoiler is that in Delta DeFi, when we going for the first testnet launch, it will be hugely incentivized. We are trying something old mixing with our kind of architecture. We have something like points, like when you place trade or help to get us some social media exposure, and there is some points, and then it will be convertible in the future airdrop, etc. that we didn't fully confirm yet with the details. But this is we do have an official budget line item for that event, and we try to get the community feeling excited about the whole thing and get participated, place the first trade to feel a little bit of the speed. This is something that we try to do. Yeah, staying eye close to Delta DeFi and our team.
Perfect, and thank you. Sounds like we'll be having trading competitions taking place on Cardano sooner rather than later. Thank you both, gentlemen, here for joining me. It's been an interesting conversation talking about Delta DeFi, talking about Sundial, scaling, and layer twos. As you were speaking there, Hinson, the word came back to my mind. It was the sentiment. The sentiment around Cardano has completely changed. So I wanted to at least close out the interview by making sure to get that one off of my chest. But again, I really enjoyed this. I've seen the both of you guys in person. Looking forward to hopefully seeing you guys again, whether that's, in Token 2049, the Cardano Summit, Rare Evo. But just again, really happy to have made it through the worst to now being able to enjoy the best together. So I wish you both the best of luck here. Again, links to everything will be left down below. But that'll do it here for today's video. For you, the viewer watching at home or wherever you're at, if you're on the go, would definitely appreciate you guys if you guys could smash that thumbs up. If you guys have found any portion of today's conversation to be helpful or to provide any value to you. If it's your first time stopping by Dapp Central and you want more content like this, breaking down everything building here in Cardano, consider subscribing. And last but not least, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns as it pertains to Delta DeFi or Sundial, or if you just want to get in contact with these gentlemen, check out that description down below. But that said, and as always, we'll see you all in the next one. Cheers, everybody. Take care.